being in Steel Panther, like we chose our path years ago, and our path was the opposite of political correctness, right? So it's always been, we've always said fuck you to political correctness, and because of where we're at now, that has made us, I think, a lot stronger, and we're political correctness resistant.
Hey, welcome to another episode of 2020. My name's Cory Peza, and I'm here with my cohorts, which I don't usually use that phrase, but it seems to have caught on.
You're being brainwashed by your other two cohorts.
Yes, exactly. So that is Siobhán Cronin.
Hello.
And Benny Goodman, who is indisposed.
In the process of inhaling something.
That's a little Black Sabbath reference.
Yeah. Yep. That's more like.
Still waiting for him to acknowledge that he's here.
Oh, he's made himself known.
Hello.
This episode, we're back with Satchel. So we hope you watch the first one. It's incredible. This episode.
Can we play a game? Can we play a game though while we're listening to these episodes and from now on? So if you guys are drinkers like Cory and Siobhán, I don't drink. Clearly, you guys know why I don't drink. It's because I'm crazy enough as is. But anytime I say, "Here's the thing," or we use the word cohort, or we use a word that you don't know and then acknowledge that we don't use we use a word that's like above the pay grade, or anytime Satchel says something that's polysyllabic, take a shot. Take a shot.
No one will make it through the episode.
see. Well, just with the here's the thing, you'll probably be like 6 minutes into
You'll
it.
be wasted 6 minutes in, yeah.
Yeah, even on Malibu.
Yeah.
Because it's like a drug. You're on heroin, you're on Malibu.
Anyways, this is a great episode. They kind of, really can give you an outlook on life as far as taking advantage of a situation that on the outside might seem bad. But, this is kind of a lemons into lemonade type of deal.
So, yeah, we get into a lot of, more in detail about cancel culture and a funny...
And his writing process.
Exactly.
How he makes it
Guitar
happen.
playing, writing process, a lot more in-depth information. So stay tuned. Here we are. Part 2 with Satchel. Ladies and gentlemen, and as Benny likes to say, everyone else in between, welcome back to part 2 with one of our very special guests. But before I get to that, I'm not going to forget this time, and I'm going to introduce myself and my co-hosts because I forgot the last time I did the intro. So I'm Siobhán Cronin, and I'm here in no particular order with Cory Peza.
Thank you.
And Benny Goodman.
Ahoy.
And we're here, thank you, for part 2 with an amazing guest, Satchel from Steel Panther. Woo! And if you haven't checked out part 1 yet, definitely go back and listen. We get into a lot of cool and interesting stories, and I'm super excited to dive back in and get into some even deeper stuff, more whatever. I don't even know what we'll talk about, but we'll get there. So welcome back again, Satchel.
Part 1 was amazing. Oh my God, that was the best. That was the best part so far, really.
But this is like the Godfather part 2, though. You know what I mean? Like, this is going to be the one.
This could be amazing, or it could suck. We don't know.
We say that before every episode.
Right.
So we were talking a little bit at the end of the last one, how Steel Panther shows are kind of, funny enough, a safe space for political incorrectness, which is kind of like a really weird, ironic thing. But what's your take on political correctness outside of a Steel Panther show?
It's the death of free speech as we know it. Because it is. It's horrible. It's cancel culture, right? So if we can't sue you because of the stupid thing that we don't like that you said, we'll just ruin your life however we can. We'll make sure that you don't have any followers. We'll make sure that nobody watches your TV show or buys your records, and but again, I think that's one thing that. Like being in Steel Panther, like we chose our path years ago, and our path was the opposite of political correctness, right? So it's always been, we've always said fuck you to political correctness, and because of where we're at now, that has made us, I think, a lot stronger, and we're political correctness resistant.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, no, you've benefited from it because, like, I want to tell a story that, I mean, obviously, I'm sure in many interviews you've talked about, but for people that don't know Steel Panther, and I just remember thinking that this was just totally taking lemons and making lemonade. You were working with TC Helicon, and you had a patch in one of their effect pedals. They make stuff for guitars or whatever. It was called the Pussy Melter. And a bunch of angry keyboard warriors, and I fucking hate these people. Like, the trolls behind the screens that don't even know. Like, they're just reading meme culture. They're literally mouth breathers with their nose hanging out. They're like just fucking breathing up all the air. And they said, we don't even know anything about Satchel, but you can't make something on this effect pedal for guitars called the Pussy Melter when there's the big muff. There's like there's a million different, way worse, if you want to say, offensive things out there. And like, I want to say it was like 600 people or something like that petitioned, because that's what you do now. You just get on like a digital petition. But then, I want to say 2 or 3 days later, I think it was like thousands, like an exponential factor of people petitioned TC Helicon, who had already said they were sorry, already had, said, how dare we associate with Satchel and the Pussy Melter and all this sort of stuff. And they'd already ruined it. And you guys said, fuck it. We'll make the Pussy Melter. And next thing I know, I'm talking to you on the phone. You're like, we're in the guitar pedal business. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, you summed it up. There was a backlash from somebody in some shitty alternative band that was a girl who, which was obvious.
So she's not a girl anymore.
She was a social.
She's not yet a woman.
She was not a woman yet, and I don't think she ever will be. But she was a social justice warrior, and she got really angry that there was something so sexist called a pussy melter, and she wrote something about how offended she was, and how this, in this day and age, it shouldn't be happening. Didn't do any research on the band or what we do. And she, by the way, she was Asian. I thought, guys, isn't it ironic that we do a song called Asian Hooker and she didn't get pissed off about that? I mean, do a little research, You should be way more mad at us for the song.
Know your shit.
or the footnote. But anyway, she did this thing, and everybody got. I mean, honestly, like when you're a social justice warrior and you put something out like that, and you get everybody to sign a petition, I think a lot of those people that sign it, like 90% of them are just like, oh, I'll sign whatever. Yeah, I'm all for it. They don't do any research at all. And there was this backlash, and a lot of our fans, again, like I said earlier, we have become resistant to the social justice warriors and political correct
trolls,
all that stuff. And so because of exactly what I was talking about on the last episode, we've become this safe haven for people who love to laugh at whatever the fuck they think is funny. And they don't worry about who's offended by it. And there was a great time. And, back in the 80s when heavy metal ruled and men wore lipstick, and you could go to the fucking bookstore.
Oh, they wear lipstick now, dude.
Yes, they do. I know at the clubs that you go to, they do. But yeah, I mean, there used to be these.
I can't afford to get into any of the other clubs. Those ones let me in for free.
There used to be these books called Truly Tasteless Jokes. Do you remember those books?
Oh, I do.
Truly Tasteless Jokes. And in junior high, I remember being in junior high school. I used to just sit around at break time with my friends, and we used to read all these truly tasteless jokes. It was everything, the most racist, horrible humor. And it was from a book that you could buy at a bookstore, which nowadays you'd never be able to do because some asshole would have it banned, right? So cancel culture is ruining everything, including humor. And you can't even get stand-up comics to go perform at colleges anymore, right? Because they're all afraid they'll get canceled as well. But because of what we've built as a brand, when these people started to backlash against the Pussy Melter, we had all these fans that came to our rescue and said, fuck you, you're not taking this away from us. And it became a battle. And TC Electronics did exactly what you would expect a large corporation to do. They went, we'll do whatever you say. They bowed to the cancel culture crowd, and they took the pedal patch away, and they basically said, "You're on your own, Satchel." And I made fun of them for that. I tweeted a couple things about them changing their name from TC Electronics to PC Electronics. But what happened was we got a call from a company less than a week later, and they said, "Hey, how would you guys like to make an actual pedal called the Pussy Melter, and we'll go into business with you?" And we said, "Well, what is it going to cost us up front?" And they said, "Nothing. We'll manufacture it. All we need is the design of the pedal. Like, what do you want it to look like? And we've got an electronic engineer who's got he already had an amazing distortion pedal circuit, and it was just perfect. It fell into place, and so I heard the pedal. I thought, oh my God, this is an amazing. It's not just a great name for a pedal, but it's also a great sounding pedal. And so we put it on sale, and I think we sold like 2,500 pedals in a week. And,
wow.
Foot pedal business is a finicky business to be in, and they don't always sell, but we've sold quite a few foot pedals, and we did a reissue of the Pussy Melter. It's called the Butthole Burner. And
Nice.
But I'll tell you, it was really just one of those being in the right place at the right time, and knowing that, because it went viral so quickly, and everybody was, talking about it. Oh, the PC crowd, Satchel has pissed somebody off. And, it was all about that. Like, ooh, Satchel pissed somebody off. And our crowd went, fuck you. Look at all the people that are buying, they all just went out and bought the pedal, and it became a collector's item overnight. So everybody who's got one the thing has tripled in value in like a year. It's pretty funny.
It's amazing.
Wow.
It's amazing.
It's got to be so liberating to just like, you really highlight for me the importance of being honest and authentic with all your artistic choices, like as you go along. And I think that's so powerful, because if you cater yourself to what you believe is to be accepted or what people want at the time, inevitably it's going to change. And then you're going to be yesterday's bubblegum, so it's that was amazing, amazingly like visionary in my opinion, that you saw the importance of just sticking to what you always thought was true, for you all along.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, and it's true. It turned into this one of those things where not only did we get to actually make a pedal that was great and really cool looking and offended certain people, but it also, in my opinion, we were on the right side of the battle for free speech. You either are for free speech or you're not. And don't get me wrong, I don't expect any company to stand up for everybody's right. They got to think of their bottom line. So TC Electronics, they took the easy way out. They're not from America. They're Dutch. So maybe they don't appreciate free speech as much as I do. I'm a fucking red-blooded American, man. I like free speech. And somebody tells me that I can't fucking say something, it actually pisses me off. So I was really proud to be on that side of the fight, and I'm really glad that not only did we put actual pedal out, but we sold a bunch of them. And there's a lot of people that were really, really happy that they got to buy the actual pedal instead of, it turned into something that was way cooler than it originally was. Originally it was just a patch, and then it became an actual pedal that's really fucking cool. So thank you, social justice warriors and PC Electronics.
That's
well,
amazing.
Speaking of gear, in the last episode, we talked a lot about Steel Panther and the synthesis of the band and, touring and the live show. But I'm personally interested in some of your history as a guitar player, and having listened to, some other interviews you did. I know that you went to school and you studied and got formal training as a guitar player. So I'm interested in maybe hearing a little bit of your background and how you learned. What are your thoughts on, going to a music school, and whether that you feel like that helped you in some way compared to like, a lot of other people in the guitar world that are mostly self-taught, like just maybe a little bit about your background and training.
Well, I did go to GIT for a little while, and I taught there for a little while as well. And I hung out there as much as I could, because there was just so many great musicians there. And I don't think, listen, 30 years ago, before you were born, Siobhán, there it was really cool to say, after Guns N' Roses came out, it became really cool to say that you'd never had a guitar lesson and you never went to music school and you were self-taught. And that's cool if you're self-taught and you're good. That's awesome. But to me, there is no benefit from refraining from going to school. There's benefit from all the awesome players and all the other points of view that you're going to get by surrounding yourself with other great musicians, because there's so many of them, and everybody's got a different approach to music, and everybody's got a different approach to the instrument. And for me, going to GIT was it was, oh my God.
It's time for the zoomies.
So yeah, for me, what the fuck is going on? For me, it was priceless going to GIT and being surrounded by, when I went to GIT, it was, Paul Gilbert was like, you could go there any day of the week and he would just be in there like playing guitar. And I could just go sit in a room with Paul Gilbert. I could go sit in a room with Scott Henderson, or Joe. Like there was just so many great players at GIT when I was there. And I would just go in there and watch them play and listen to them play. And, what
was it like? What was it like walking into a room with Paul Gilbert? Because here's the thing is I see, I don't know Paul personally at all. But he seems like such a humble dude, but like, he plays a pink Ibanez in the video, and he looks like he's saying like, I'm the best. Look at me, I can play really fast, and he plays really fast. But then he's so nice. Is he really that nice, or is he like in his head like, I'm going to pretend like I'm nice and then be the best guitar player, but secretly be passive aggressively a dick?
He's the biggest dick. No, I'm just kidding. No, he is one of the nicest guys you'll ever fucking meet, and he's very, very humble. But he's also he's you know what? He's like Carl Sagan on the guitar. He's very very scientific, and he's very cerebral, and you can hear it in his playing. He has a very cerebral approach to the instrument and to music in general. And, but he has such an appreciation for music in general. Like, he's known for being a shredder guitar player, which he is. And I don't think there's anybody better. He's got such an amazing sense of timing and a great sense of articulation. And he's just so good on the instrument. But he's also, he's very, very, very into songwriting and playing other instruments. Like, when 35 years ago, he would just he would learn pieces on the piano as much as he could. And that made me want to learn piano too. And he turned me on to out of the way bands that I wouldn't normally have been turned on to, and artists that, like Utopia and Todd Rundgren, stuff like that, that was, I probably wouldn't have listened to if I hadn't known him. But these, some really, really great approaches to, songwriting and, and he's really into songwriting. Honestly, I think Paul would, if he wanted to be known for anything, he'd probably want to be known for his songwriting more than his guitar playing. But, because he loves to write songs and he's really good at that as well. And, he's also loves to produce, songs in a studio, and he produces other bands as well. But he is an incredibly humble guy, and he's a very, he's a great teacher as well. He's been doing that, his whole life as well. Totally great dude. It was a great experience being able to hang out with him and just absorb things from him and look at his approach. And for me, I was like, I tried to take as much as I could from him, but I think the thing that I got more than anything was just, all the music that he listened to. He used to go, this is before there was Spotify, and before you had the entire world at your fingertips on your phone. Yeah, you used to have to go to record stores, and he would go to record stores with, $60, and he would go to the used record store and just pick out all these albums that looked cool. And he would just go home with a stack of records, and he would sit in front of his record player, and he would play every song on the record. And he would listen to it, and if he liked anything on it, he would keep the record. And the shit that he didn't like, he would take back and trade it in for more records. And he used to do that every weekend. And it, to me, I think that's something that's, most musicians don't do enough. Like it's easy to not listen to enough stuff, and you should listen to as much as you can.
Well, it's funny you say that because there was a record store near me called Albums, and I know there's a lot of people, like, record stores are a dying breed, and they all have to sell shoes and other things, but like back in the day, they had the section where you bought the $25 CDs that were the imports, were actually just bootlegs that someone was making, and you could even get those records and all that sort of stuff. But I went to Albums, and then when I was working at a guitar store, I would go there with $300 or $400. That was, I worked an insane amount of time, and I would just buy as many CDs as I could. And I'd be like, okay, I literally buy Iron Maiden because I liked the cover. I bought Whitesnake because I liked the cover. You know what I mean? Like, and I would go and I'd come home with just stacks of CDs. And as soon as you had, Windows Media Player, I was sitting there putting every CD in and archiving it. And I have a hard drive that's kind of like Spotify, but that I made it myself, like taking cocaine and staying up all night writing every fucking song. And I think there's a huge art that's missing from having to listen to albums, because now you have instant gratification. You don't even listen to an album. You listen to one song. My 15-year-old, her friend came over and was saying something like, oh yeah, well, I don't really say that I like bands. I might like a song by a band, but I don't like bands. And it's like, you've never even given a single band a chance, because she lives in a culture where all you have to do is like pour some sugar on me, and that's Def Leppard.
Yeah, I mean, listen, music has become a very throwaway thing. It has become devalued to the point where like I said on the last episode, you don't have enough time as a human being on this planet to listen to 1% of all the music that you have on your phone available right now. So you'll never be able to do it. So I think a lot of people feel like, well, I'm just, I've listened to one song by that band, and there's 40 million other bands out there, so I've listened to enough of that band. And, back when we were kids, it was like you actually had to spend $20 fucking on one CD. So when you got the fucking CD, you were like, I'm going to
listen to it. That was a lot of money, man. It was a lot of money. Do you remember when they actually got $20 for a CD? You went in and you're like, oh, I could buy the tape, but I could spend $4 more and get it on CD, and it'll last forever.
But not only that, because of the way we were listening, and it's funny because I think our ages are all a little skewed, but at the same time, we were before the digital realm when we started listening to music. So yeah, I had a cassette tape, and guess what? I had a Walkman, and you could only fit one cassette tape. So you listen to that cassette fucking a million times, because otherwise you'd have to go dig another one out.
Or even buying the cassette and putting it next to the stereo, so when your favorite song came on, you tried getting it without the DJ talking over it. Like,
right.
Don't talk over the intro. I want to fucking get that.
But regardless, the point was you couldn't just pick and choose unless you made your own, concoction of a mixtape. You had your album. You listened to that record start to finish, and you did it until you were sick of it, then you grabbed another one. Whereas now, listening to a song start to finish, that means you have to take shuffle off and on Spotify or something. It just doesn't happen.
Not to jump back in, but going back to the original question about music school, it's something that you mentioned that was really interesting was, a lot of people think about the idea of formal training as getting lessons from, let's say, a guitar teacher, piano teacher. But I totally agree with you that a lot of the value that I got from going to like a conservatory style school was the exposure to peers, and being able to play or being forced to play with people on the spot, different types of music, and seeing what they could do and learning from them more so than from teachers. And I'm just wondering if there was anything else besides that you took from music school, or anything that you found incredibly valuable that you wouldn't necessarily find just like being a guitar player floating out in the world,
Well, I was very young when I went to GIT. I was like 17 years old, and it was pretty daunting because there was like 800 guitar players, and they were all really good. And for me, it was there was also a lot of great teachers there that were all insane at what they did. They were all different styles. Like Scott Henderson is really probably one of the greatest jazz players on the planet, and then you could walk into another room with like Steve Trovato, who's just an amazing country guitar player. And every time I would walk into another room, it was like, oh my God, I want to be able to do that. Like, I want to be able to play like that guy or that guy. But then it really forced me to pick a direction, because I would much rather be really good at something than half-ass at a bunch of things. and there's only so many hours that you have to be able to get good at something. And there's some dudes that are masters at lots of different styles, but for me, I just went, well, this is the kind of music that I like. I really love to write and listen to rock music, so I'm going to focus my energy there and do this and follow that path, as opposed to learning how to play over 2-5-1 progressions and getting 40 million licks that I'm never going to use after I leave GIT. So for me, it was that was part of it. Like who am I? I had to make decisions like that. Who do I want to be a year from now? What do I want to be good at 5 years from now? And for me, it was all about writing songs about dicks and pussies. So.
Well, but that's interesting. So writing was something that you already had a serious interest in when you went in, because
dicks and pussies.
No, but for me, like, I went to music school.
You like dicks too?
Oh.
You just like writing about dicks.
I love dicks. I think they're great, awesome thing. I mean, I don't like to suck them or anything, but
I can't disagree.
Siobhán, I knew you had something in common with Satchel.
Well, I was trying to get to what we actually have in common, in the sense that we went to music school, but I was trying to ask a question when you interrupted me. Now I forgot what it was. God. Oh, yeah. No, talking about writing, because, as a violinist, you go to music school. And if you go as like an orchestral violinist or classical musician, it's all about just playing. Like, studying writing or composition is like a totally separate discipline. So I'm interested to hear if, your experience there, that was something you were able to do in practice as like a young, you said you were 17 when you went. So obviously you got exposure to that pretty young.
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably something that's for rock musicians as opposed to classically trained musicians, that's something that just comes with being a rock musician. Because the day that you start playing the guitar is the day that you start learning how to write a song. Because you learn Stairway to Heaven, and then you realize that, there's like different sections, and it's an that's what you might learn later that that's an arrangement or whatever, but you start learning how to write songs from the minute you start playing the guitar, because you're learning from, guys like Jimmy Page and Ritchie Blackmore, and they were all really good songwriters. And for me, I think I was writing music the first week I started playing. And then of course, once I saw how many guys could play lead guitar well when I was going to GIT, then I realized, oh shit, well, that has to be something that makes, if I don't get good at writing, I'm just going to be one of the 2 million awesome lead guitar players out there. And even though my jawline definitely separates me from a lot of them.
Well, that leads me to a really important point, because you say this a lot, but it's completely true. So part of the gag with Steel Panther is that you actually write amazing songs. And a lot of your songs, now, this as a composer and a writer, there are songs that are like, okay, that's the Bon Jovi Living on a Prayer key change, or that's the coda that Tesla uses a lot in their songs, and we're going to do like a little breakdown like this. Your songs, I don't want to say are derivative, but the structures are brilliant mirrors of the music that you're paying an homage to. How do you compose and go, like, do you go like, I want to take, the feel from like this extreme song, and I want it to hit like Warrant does with this and all, because it seems like it's almost hard not to, because obviously you're writing music in the style of the 80s heavy metal, which is my favorite music of all time, but it's so unique and original, but at the same time, it's as if it's like historical fiction. It should have been concurrent. You know what I mean? Like, you could have been killing Abraham Lincoln before the other guy. Our first record was definitely geared a lot more towards, because it was, okay, we got a record deal. And even though some of the first songs I wrote were songs like, was like Fat Girl, which was on purpose trying to cop like some Def Leppard, like the whoa, yeah. It's very Def Leppard right there. But the rest of it was like, you don't say. Mutt Lange is like, dude, that's my thing.
No, so I mean, but then there was certain songs that were already written for that record, like Community Property, which isn't really geared after any one song in particular. But when I was finishing writing the rest of our first record, it was like, okay, well, how are we going to bring people in and that was part of the goal. Like I need to write a song that's similar to Living on a Prayer, because that was such a huge song. So Party All Day was, written on the keyboard, and it was very much like, what's that, that keyboard riff, it's kind of the same bass line. And then the rest of it was just like, I want to cop the vibe, but I don't want to cop it's got to be it's got to be different enough so that it's not the same song. And there's a balancing act there. But once we got past the first record, then it became, clear that there was only so many huge 80s hits.
Yeah.
And for me, it became more and more about, okay, I just got to write songs that are cool and that are 80s sounding, but I'm not going to be able to keep on digging, listen, there are certain things that still inspire me. I still love Judas Priest. If I put on like Sad Wings of Destiny, I always get inspired. It makes me feel heavy metal. I listen to Accept. If I listen to Accept, I go, fuck, it's so simple. It's all about the guitar riff and the guitar tone. And I honestly feel like some of the best Steel Panther songs that I've written have been things that I went, I'm going to write the dumbest riff I've ever written. Like, I just want it to be super stupid and something that I wouldn't normally write if I was being a GIT guitar player. Like, I just want it to be dumb and simple. And that's a lot of times that's the shit that resonates with people the most. Eyes of a Panther was like,
dude, do you realize that last year that Old Town Road was the biggest song of the year? It is literally the definition of basic. I was a wedding DJ for years, and what I realized is if it doesn't pass the drunk bitch test, and I mean that in the nicest of ways, but like you're saying Living on a Prayer, that's something where you could turn down the crossfader and they go, whoa! And you know this, and there's a certain power that you have when you do that sort of stuff. So like being anticipatory of understanding what makes a song that level of epic, because you go see even Bon Jovi, I mean, you can't see them now, but if you were to see them now, you still can understand, like, there are some bands that, you go, oh, like Motley Crue is a band that I've seen, and I'm like, oh, they did not age well for me. I kind of, like, I lost it for them. But then you go see Bon Jovi, a band you kind of thought was poofy a little bit, and you're like, holy shit, even with this Phil X guy, who's maybe even better than Sambora, they rock! And all these songs were designed to, like, be like a Circuit City morning meeting. Like, hey, just play the Desmond Child song, press play on it, and just let Richie Sambora and John Bon Jovi, like, together, like, get everybody invigorated so we can go out and do some business today and sell some fucking cars. Like, and that's how I feel like those songs were written. And, like, I feel like when I listen to Steel Panther, you guys literally said, okay, we've been to so many stadium shows. We've seen Journey. We've seen Aerosmith. But, well, Kiss does this thing and whatever. And you take the best of all that, like a buffet, the fat girl buffet. And then you put that all in your songs and your show. So, and it's great because where people can say, oh, Greta Van Fleet's plagiarizing Led Zeppelin. If you're plagiarizing Warrant, good.
This is the time in the second episode
where
Ben goes off the rails in some irrelevant way.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I do.
But you haven't interrupted us enough for Siobhán to tell you to shut the fuck up yet, so
yeah,
you're doing better.
You've been good the last few episodes.
I've been taking my pills.
On the topic of the songwriting, I think I agree. I think all the earlier songs were definitely like a very transitional kind of like, oh, it's that band that does covers, but this sounds eerily familiar, so I'm going to listen to their originals. But I've found your originals since then, especially like on the later records, to have like this crazy mix of that, like a modern, they're fucking pop records, but done in the style of 80s, which I think is phenomenal.
Pop in the sense of the singability.
Yeah, they're the catchiest fucking song. They're hooks.
I'm in the shower going, community property.
Even more so in the later, if you really, really, really love me, like that. That's if Justin Bieber sang that over like a trap beat, it would be number one on the charts. They're great fucking songs.
I appreciate that, Cory. That's a huge compliment. I mean, for me, it's always been, for me as a musician, I always felt like it's all about the song. That's why, for me, it was like being a young kid learning how to shred was like, okay, maybe I don't need to be as good as Yngwie. Maybe I should really just learn how to write killer songs because it's all about like writing hooks that people want to continue to like, you're always competing with people if you're a band. Like people can always listen to something else. Like, and you want them to go, oh wait, I like that. I'm gonna play Steel Panther again, because every time they get in their car, you're in the competition. It's you against everything else in the world, and you want them to pick your shit. And that's the only way you're going to be successful as a musician, is by winning more often than the other people. And that's where the hooks come in. Like, you got to have something that people are going to go, I want to hear that song again. I want to hear that again. And there's been a lot of songs throughout my life that I've heard, and I went, oh my God, I've got to listen to that song 50 times in a row because it's that good. And that's what I always want to write for other people. I want people to go, yes, I'm going to listen to That's When You Came In again and again and again. I want to hear that again. And the more songs you have like that as a band, the better off you're going to be, and the more of a chance you have of getting laid on a regular basis.
Well, speaking of the writing process, this interests me because I don't do a lot of writing. I'm more of like a player, I guess, because I'm a violinist. But what does that look like for you when you sit down to write a song? Just out of my own curiosity, you're a guitar player, but you mentioned that you got interested in keyboard too. Like, what is kind of the first step when you're writing a song? Is it something that you do on the guitar? Is it you start with rhythm? Like, where does it begin for you mostly?
For me, for Steel Panther, I mean, when I just write, if it's not for Steel Panther, I don't know, it could be anywhere. But for Steel Panther, a lot of the times it has to start with subject matter, because if I don't start with the subject matter, then it's kind of hard to figure out a melody and then fit the subject matter in. So if I know what I want to sing about and how I want to deliver the punchline or the chorus or whatever it is, like, it's got to be an approach to the subject matter that's good and funny and hooky and probably different. Like, you can only write Asian Hooker once. You can only write Property once. So there's got to be a different approach to the song every time. And for me, I don't know why, but like, I don't know by you guys, but I always feel real creative when I go in the shower. If I'm in the shower, I'm just like, washing my balls. I'm like, this is thinking melodies and like ideas come out.
Siobhán can relate to that totally. Yeah.
Have you ever thought to yourself that maybe you could be the Max Martin of metal? Because I feel like that, first off, if you wanted, like, I feel like you could write a better Metallica album than Metallica could. You know what I mean? Like, if they said, hey, don't lose your iPhone, Satchel. Maybe keep these riffs on another external hard drive so that James and Lars don't have to be the only ones writing everything. But I feel like genuinely that you understand music so well that if you even said, like, hey, go write a Bon Jovi record, that you could do it. Like, why wouldn't you be the Swedish guy singing for Bon Jovi into a thing like, here's going to be your new hit? I know you haven't, like, you could be the David Foster to Chicago.
Well, that's very kind of you, Benny. I mean, that's one of the things about writing songs. Like, I always feel like, I know some dudes who love to co-write. I'm not a huge fan of co-writing because I always feel like there's so much pressure. You sit down in a room with somebody and you start bouncing ideas off, and if nothing, if the first idea that comes to you sucks, like, and the other guy goes, oh yeah, that's great, then you feel like, oh shit, I don't like this guy's taste in music. He likes my shitty ideas. There's this pressure of like, oh God, I can't believe you like that idea. That was the worst idea I've ever had. So for me, I like to be like, sit alone in a room somewhere and just go, I'm going to wait until the good ideas come out and throw out a bunch of ideas until I can, something that I like comes out, and then take my time with it. But there's some people that love to just go, Nashville writers, they do it all the time. They sit there, they write 50 songs a day, and they put 50 fucking records out a day, and one of them becomes a hit, and they buy 14 mentions.
Oh my gosh. That's incredible though, that you can, because I mean, for me, I don't write a lot, but whenever I do get ideas, they're always around when I'm collaborating with other people or after I've played a concert. Like, if I just put myself in an empty room, it doesn't happen. So I it's amazing, because I imagine it's probably hard in 2020. People, if you need to be inspired by other people to write, it doesn't really help that you have unlimited time.
So
if you're just sitting.
Yeah, I agree, Siobhán. I think that's true. And one thing with people that write, and I know Ben and I are on the same page with this, but we have hard drives full of unfinished songs.
Yeah.
How does your hard drive look?
Oh, it's the same way. I most of my unfinished songs are actually on my phone because I just here, and then it will be it has to go through the process. Like, you know, if the idea is good enough to make it to the phone, then it's better than 9 or 10 other ideas.
So do you think Google will eventually release your albums without asking you?
Oh my God.
Like Alexa, release Satchel's unreleased recordings.
Out there right now, right? And you know, all the Google people are fucking buying new houses with the money they're making on the advertising. But yeah, it's, you know, there's a million ideas on the phone, and then 1 out of every 20 of those ideas will get developed and actually made into a demo, right? And then most of the time, like by the time I make it into a demo, then I'm determined enough to finish the song. Occasionally, those songs won't get finished, and that'll be on the hard drive. But most of the time, by the time it makes it to, okay, I'm going to finish this song, and it's going to go into a Logic Pro session or something, I'll just fucking grind it out until I finish it. And you know, sometimes it comes out really good, and sometimes it's not as good as others.
No, we're way worse than this. Corey and I. But first off, we've enabled ourselves with this thing called templates. So I have like a drum set with like 15 mics already set up and all that. So we don't have to get sounds. We don't have to do anything that's like the shitty part of recording. All we need to do is pull up the template, plus record, and our ideas sound like a record. So we get like 90% done with the song, and then it's like one vocal part bums us out, and then 10 years later, we're like,
Yes.
hey man, remember that song we did? Like, no, we pull it up, we're like, holy shit, it's trying to reconnect to the tracks and all of that. But like, literally, I think it's like we're pushing on, like, Paul Lorenzo, our drummer, is the worst. He doesn't like me saying his age, but he's probably closer to your age than our age. And he literally has, I would say, Prince amount of music unreleased. When I first met him in 2008, he gave me like an MP3 folder of like 13 demos. And some of them had vocals and stuff. But like, I feel like to be a true blue musician, that you have to write like 10,000 songs before you get a riff where you're like literally like, I do want to put that on my phone. I can remember singing this in the shower. And there's so many people that think that they could just sit down in front of like Fruity Loops, whatever, Pro Tools, and just write a song, where it's like you have to just be awake at night with riffs in your head and music going through you to do what you do. Because I gotta tell you, those songs, every part of them, they're so intricate, they're so perfect, like the key change, the melodies, the textures. And that's the thing for me that sells Steel Panther, is because not only is it hilarious, because like you do for 15 minutes not even play this music I'm talking about. You guys are going back and forth about whose birthday it is and who has nice tits or who's whatever, and it's usually very uplifting. But when you get to the music, it's very clear that you listen to Judas Priest, that you listen to Iron Maiden, that you listen to Metallica, that Paul Gilbert was in the room with you, and the guy that played jazz was in the room next to you, and still you guys value that. And that's why you're that much funnier to me, because you could be a gag and people would still like it, because basic people would just, they like other cover bands that aren't as good as you guys. But you guys really take it home. And I got to tip my hat to you, because, you know, Motley Crue's got it wrong. They're twisted.
Well, you know, I mean, but like I said, I mean, listen, Motley Crue hasn't taken the time to listen to us like you have. And I appreciate that a lot, what you said. But yeah, I mean, like I said, the people that hate us the most are people that they look at the cover of the book and they go, I'm going to hate that book. I'm not going to read it. You know, like Eddie Trunk. Like Eddie Trunk hates us. And he
doesn't hate butter.
He doesn't fucking know what we sound like. Somebody asked him a question one time. They went, okay, well, you know, they've got this song like, you know, blah, blah, blah. And he went, oh, yeah, no, I know. I've heard, well, that song's probably about this. They went, well, haven't you listened to it? And he went, no, but I'm sure it's probably like he hadn't even listened to the song he was critiquing by us. And I thought, well, if that doesn't take your credibility away as a reviewer, I don't know what will. Like, you can't bag on a band without actually listening.
Well, wasn't he the guy that, like, when Dio died, literally just sat there the whole time talking about how he knew Dio and how Dio thought he was so cool? And then, like, that Dio, like, one time met him when he was at Heaven and Hell, and that, like, he ran into Dio and Dio recognized him in the bathroom, and that when he was doing this thing with Dio, he got to walk on stage in front of Dio's fans. It's like, dude, who cares about those guys? The only thing that's cool about a guy like Eddie Trunk is the fact that there's metal associated with him, and anybody that gets people to listen to metal,
I don't know,
is cool by me.
I think he's onto something. I like this, like, reviewing albums and tracks that you don't even listen to. I think that could be a thing.
That's the new normal, guys. Like, I wanted to listen to this record, but I just decided it sucked, so I gave it a 1-star review. It's awesome. But, that's the problem with putting fucking records out once you're a band and you've got any kind of a following. Like, it doesn't matter who it is. People wait for your new record to come out just so they can bag on it and say, this is so much worse than their last record. And they don't even listen to it before they fucking say that kind of shit.
It blows my mind that anyone can shit on you guys and be like serious about it. Like, just because of the context of the band, it seems so odd to, like, anyone taking it that seriously doesn't get it.
Well, there's a lot of people that, you're right. I mean, we've sort of insulated ourselves from criticism with certain things. I mean, obviously, like, if you don't like the fact that, we sing about pussy or tits or anal sex or old people fucking in an old folks home, then you shouldn't be listening to us in the first place. If you can't get past that, then if you think that we're childish, then yeah, you're probably not going to. If you don't like the title, "Gangbang at the Old Folks Home," then you're probably not going to like the music either. So you're probably going to write a bad review. But that's what's funny about reading bad reviews like that. But I think that's also the interesting thing. I mean, if we're good for anything, we're definitely good to show people how subjective music is, because you could go on to user reviews on Amazon for Steel Panther records, and it'll be 5-star reviews one after the other until you get to the 1-star review, and then it'll be the worst fucking review you've ever read. This is the shittiest band. They deserve to die. If they don't die soon, I will kill them myself. They don't deserve to be called musicians. These guys.
But don't you like the polarization? Because I feel like that shows that you're doing something right. Because it's like those are the movies that I really like. Like when I go see a horror movie, it's got like 6.5 on IMDb. I'll go and read like totally brilliant. This is like unbelievable. This is unbelievable. Then one like predictable and vapid. Like, no, you suck, dude. There's like 5 of like, this is the best thing since Hostel. So,
yeah,
like, you got to be careful because it's like.
Because of exactly that reason, your bad reviews are amazing reviews for your band.
They're the best ones.
Like, all your fans must read those and laugh their ass off.
It's like when you read a review, you could go, you're reading a review of a B movie, like about a giant piranha or megalodon or something, right? And they're like
a megalodon, yeah.
Dude, it's supposed to be like that, you fucking asshole. Like you don't get it. There's certain things.
Evil Dead was not good because the editing was not seamless. It's like, what? The whole reason it's awesome is because it's terrible.
Actually, trees don't move like that.
Yeah. And most often it's from people that have never once either made a movie or made music. It's the same thing with playing too. It's like violin. Like I watch videos of amazing violinists, and there'll be some crazy person who clearly has never played the violin that's like, oh no, this was wrong. I'm like, do you know how hard it is to play this piece? Like, who are you? It's crazy.
Listen, if there's one thing about the internet age, it's the fucking keyboard warriors out there that like everybody's a fucking musician, everybody's a songwriter, everybody's a fucking political scientist, and you just want to kick everybody in the fucking nuts,
Keyboard warrior. I smell a song. I smell a Steel Panther song. I don't know.
Well, I mean, but the thing is I love trolling the trolls, man, because that's one of the things. It's like I feel like I'm like Gozer the Gozerian. I'm like Vigo the Destroyer. Like all your hatred and all that, I feed off of that, and then I start blowing you kisses, and then I start hearting all the things that you say, and then I start going, I think maybe I've changed my perception just because of you, and in fact, everything that you've said, all of these vindictive, hateful, unfounded things have all led to this moment, this intervention. Thank you. And I love that, because here's the thing. Most people don't get that because most movies are boring. Most people don't even bother to write a review because they forgot it by the time they were ending. When you leave a Steel Panther show, there's one of two things that are happening. It's either a guy looking at it and another guy going, that was fucking awesome. And did you see Satchel do his solo while he played like the kick drum? And then a girl going, I don't think we can be together anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because or they get it because they're the ones that showed the tits. You know what I mean? But like, it's such a great experience. And the way I look at it is you're better off making someone feel, even if they hate you, than not feeling anything at all.
I couldn't agree with you more. There's, if any band that has success is going to have haters, right? And listen, there's shit that I hate too. I mean, there's shit that I can't stand. I mean, listen, I'm never going to be a fan of K-pop. I'm just not, but that doesn't mean that the people that listen to it, don't genuinely like it and feel something for it. I don't know why they do, but that doesn't mean they don't. So, but it also, like, I'm not the kind of guy who's going to spend my time going on to K-pop albums and writing horrible reviews just because, like, I'm going to be that guy. I fucking hate you. Your band is horrible. I haven't listened to this fucking record, but you guys are so fucking pretty. Fuck you.
The thing is, though, if you did that, it'd be hilarious.
You should.
It'd be amazing.
Maybe that'll be my YouTube channel that takes off, right? Just me writing shitty reviews for K-pop artists in South Korea.
Dude, the thing is, the thing that I love about you and everybody in your band, because Cory and I were lucky enough, we've got to interview you, and you've been so gracious, and your whole band's been gracious that you always hook us up with tickets and take care of us and treat us like family. And every single show, you guys come up with completely unique bullshit to talk about. Like, there is no shortage from the well of, like, wittyisms and back and forth. And, some people might think that it's mindless and stupid, but I think it's mindless and stupid in the same way South Park is, because you find the lowest common denominator, and then you go, oh, there isn't a lower one? Well, Michael Starr or Styx over here is going to find the lower common denominator, and everyone in the audience is going to go, oh, shit, that was just a giant Bono joke. You know what I mean? And you guys get it every single night, and that's what I have to, again, tip my hat to you, is because where everyone thinks that maybe, or not everyone, where a lot of people might look at your cover and say, this is the dumbest music, this is stupid. What you do requires so much cerebral fortitude, because you're like playing jazz, except with comedy on stage. Rodolfo Zuniga, one of her friends that we've got to meet, he plays jazz, and he says it's the ultimate form of music because it's always keeping you on your toes. And you guys are like fucking comedy jazz.
Well, I think you're right in that comparison. I mean, there's a lot of, our show is, songs that are, I feel like there's two elements to us. And I feel like, the songs are well written and well structured and well arranged. And we need to stick to that structure. But then when we're not playing a song, it is a lot of, you never know where it's going to go. So there is that element of danger. Like, this could go somewhere completely fucked up, and oftentimes does. And so, I think it's a good balance, because, it's like, as soon as you think it couldn't get more fucked up, we go back to, like, this safety of a song that and it's familiar, even though it might be about fucking an old woman. It's still something that's, like, it's structured. And it's something.
Well, can I ask you, so when you write about fucking an old woman, do you use sense memory? Because, my 15-year-old's taking acting classes, and they talk about sense memory. And, for people that don't know the term, it's like, when you want to cry, you think about, like, when you went to your grandma's funeral, or, when you want to feel pain, you think about that time you got the shot and you almost passed out. But you write about fucking old chicks. Is there a place you go?
Yeah, I usually remember the night before on the tour bus.
When Michael Starr's mom came to visit. I had like 5 questions I was going to ask, and they all just floated out of my brain. Fuck. What I was going to say. No, but on the side of the performer, though, that's amazing that you maintain that spontaneity, because I know that that's something that, like, sometimes even for me in certain shows that I've done before, it gets old when you do the exact same thing every single night and it's scripted, and you get used to that, like, routine of just, like, the same rhythm. And I think it's nice to have that kind of feeling of a little bit of danger of, like, you don't know if something's going to go terribly awry.
Yeah, I mean, there's every night in our show. I mean, even though, listen, like, we're not classically trained, and we're certainly not jazz guys. And there's only so much improv on the instruments that's going to happen, especially with Lexi Fox. But there's always little portions of every show, like when we do, like, Girl from Oklahoma, where I'll just, be playing the guitar, and I'll force everybody in the band to improvise a song about a girl in the audience or a girl on stage. And it's like, put the spotlight on them and then just write a song right now. And it's so much fun to
It's like whose line, remember the show, Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah.
I feel like, but that's true, because you guys will get, like, to paint a picture, you'll get like 20 girls on stage, and they're willing. And if they're not willing, their boyfriends are like, oh, no, you should go up. Like, you've never been up before, you need to go up. And you'll get a bunch of chicks, and then you will literally hand off the microphone, and, you know, Styx will get on, like, the keyboard sometimes, and then, like, you know, Lexi's doing his thing. And you guys, it's like, you're on just a J200 owning it, and this is where you run the show. And I've seen it 15 times, and every single time it's different, because you will bring whatever girl, and how she reacts determines where you guys go. And sometimes girls are all for it, like they're for lack of a better term, dirty horse. And others are a little bit, let's say, inhibited.
No doubt. I mean, we get young girls that are totally willing to show their tits, and we get old ladies that don't really want to do that. But it's always fun. I mean, we had a woman that was, not kidding you, like in her 80s one time, and I'm making lyrics up about, you know, fucking her old pussy, and he's just rolling with it. It was so awesome, so cool to be able to sing to an old lady about fucking her old pussy while her like kids are out there, and everybody's having a great time. It's definitely, there are certain families who bring everybody in the family to our show, and I just think to myself, what the fuck is it like at these people's house at Christmas time? I don't fucking know.
Well, you know what's funny is that I was one time, you know, our friend Ernie Bach. I was with Ernie Bach and Joe Perry, and Joe Perry was about to play one of his solo shows, and he looks over to Ernie and in my direction. I don't want to say he looked at me, but he looked in my direction, and he goes, you know what? Like, I sometimes feel bad making so much money doing something I have so much fun doing. And I said, Mr. Perry, I never feel bad for making money doing anything, especially when I'm having fun. Do you ever think to yourself, like, I'm not only singing to some old lady on stage, I'm watching some girl with a fucking super nice rack and getting paid to sing about their dirty pussies on stage in front of their fucking husband.
Yeah, it's awesome. It is. It's basically a dream come true. You know, it's fucking awesome.
We've lost all of our audience. My mom's like, I liked your show up until now.
No, it's great. I can't stop laughing now. Oh my god.
Well, you know, Anne-Marie, her mom fucking loving this. She's like, this is my favorite one so far. He says exactly what he thinks.
Yeah, no, my mom is that, because that's a household I grew up with. My mom's from Scotland, and the Scottish people are very, like, first of all, they drink a lot, and second of all, they say whatever the fuck is in their brain. There's just no filter. So
Zero.
I always, like, growing up, I was terrified of, like, people meeting my mother, because, like, so many Americans are so polite. Like, in the Midwest, it's like, oh, you don't say anything that's politically incorrect or whatever. And my mom will just shoot her mouth off. So, like, I totally love that.
I love playing in Scotland. It's fucking amazing. I can't understand a fucking thing they say, but
yeah,
they're great.
I think especially I can speak for myself. I'm like now craving a goddamn Steel Panther concert. They need to get this whole country squared away so we can see another one.
I could say this definitively, and actually, a story I'll say before we leave. One of the last times I saw my friend Ollie, Herbert, our friend who played on Lost Symphony, which by the way is our sponsor. Which by the way, Satchel plays on Chapter 1 on a song. You know what I mean? I can't tell you how much we really appreciated having you on our record. But we brought Ollie, and it was the first time that Cory and I had not been to a Steel Panther show together in, I want to say, 6 or 7 years. And we put together a bunch of videos of you and Styx telling Cory how much he fucked up, because we literally, no matter what we were ever doing, Cory and I would stop what we're doing and be like, dude, well, you're obviously going to Panther, right? Like, we got to go to Panther. Like, we have to go see Panther. And I remember that being one of my favorite memories, because Ollie was such an incredible guitar player. But when he went to see you, first off, they wouldn't let him backstage, even when I got him a backstage pass, because he was, like, so timid that like, he didn't do the I should belong here walk. So they're like, no, sir, not you. You got a pass afterwards. So I actually called you and made you go get Ollie. And you were so nice that in your own show, in your own VIP area, like, you went and, like, combated the people to go get Ollie back there. And we made videos for Cory to say, you know, hey, Cory, you fucked up. And I mean, you're always hilarious. Everyone in your band is so gracious and so nice. But that's one of my greatest memories, because I truly believe that was the last time that I ever saw my friend. And those videos crack me up to this day. And I got to tell you that I sent it to Cory, and I think to this day it might be the funniest thing that I've ever pranked him with.
Yeah.
I was proud to be a part of it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man. Well,
We'll have to, hey Cory, you know what? You should find those videos and attach them.
Gosh.
I'll see if I can dig them
They're
up.
pretty good.
Dig in the archives,
and
yeah.
it sticks it to you.
Yes. Sticks it in you. We're coming up at the end. We got a few minutes left, but
This
this has flown by.
My only friend.
Yeah. Just
The
want
end.
to thank Satchel, for really, digging deep and giving us some of the backstories that I don't think we've heard before.
Well, and for making us laugh. I think that's the greatest lesson I got at all of this is like laughter is just, it cures everything. Bring it to music, bring it to the stage, make everyone feel free.
Well, the metal camaraderie is the thing I want people to take from Steel Panther. So, like, it's all in good fun. And that's the thing that I hate. Is like, if you guys were so serious, there was like serious as Yngwie is serious about himself, like, it wouldn't be cool. But the fact is, not only are you not serious, you're the first people to be self-deprecating. And people, it's cool to be, it's en vogue to be self-deprecating. Like, you've had Miley Cyrus on stage with you. You've had Avril Lavigne on stage with you. You did face fuck Kelly Clarkson. You had that moment with her. And the thing is that there's a lot of people that get what you do. But the most important thing is that you define metal for me as a kid. Again, that look to the other guy at the all guys Catholic school, like, you got a Metallica shirt under there? Do you listen to Slayer? You know what I mean? And when you go to a Steel Panther show, it's like there's another guy wearing spandex and with a long wig on, and you're looking at each other like, that dude's badass. And like, there's very few places where you can do that, where you're wearing like lime green fucking tiger stripe spandex, and you're looking at another dude like, he probably fucks hot chicks.
Exactly. Yeah,
Steel Panther.
Yeah, man, it's great. We're keeping it alive, man. I'm telling you, it's great. If you've never seen a Steel Panther show, I highly recommend coming to a Steel Panther show once the government lets us go out of our houses again. Online is cool. You can go to our steelpantherrocks.com page, and there's plenty of shit on YouTube, but definitely come to a show when you get a chance.
Sure, of course.
And plan, letting us play live again, and it's always fun. And I hope, we all miss playing live. I know you guys do too. Can't wait to get out there and actually play in front of audiences again. And
well, listen, I gotta tell you that Cory, I have to like beg him to do things with me. Like, the more we work together, the more I'm like, hey man, when you come to my birthday, he's like, oh, is this one of those essential hangout things that we have to do? But like, literally, since day one, you want to go to Panther? Yeah, man, I'm in. Like, which is why when he didn't come that one time, it was the end of the world. Like, how dare you say no to me about Panther? And that's one of the things, is like, there is a camaraderie amongst your music. And I have to say, first off, thank you for treating us like family. And I got to tell you that there's people that go to Steel Panther shows that are like a giant family. They're people that check you out everywhere. And I have to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for, first off, being on our Lost Symphony record, Chapter 1, LostSymphony.com. Treating our good friend Ollie so well. Literally coming back, telling the security guys, like, no, he's okay, he's fine. He's fine, to this 6'4" wizard-looking dude. And again, every single time, you're so humbling because your playing is incredible, and people don't realize that you did go to the GIT with Paul Gilbert. You are learned, you are studious, and when you write a song, you craft a song, and it's very, very interesting to hear you refer to yourself as a composer before being a player or a shredder, because a lot of people say, oh, this person or that person, but Steel Panther, it's melodies first, and there's no question about it.
Well, I appreciate that, and it was my honor to be on that record and play with you guys, and you guys are always family and welcome at our shows anytime, and I'm looking forward to doing some shows and seeing you guys there.
Well, we got to bring Siobhán to a show.
Yeah.
She's
I
in
know,
Miami.
I'm dying to see one
And here,
now.
listen. I'm not putting you on the spot. Well, I'm putting you on the spot. I'm not that good. Cory is a little bit better, but he's a bass player. So, like, I mean, what's the point of that? Siobhán might even be above your pay grade. You should tell Siobhán to come out and do something with you, because she's actually good. Like, I mean, I'd love to, but like, I can't sing the backups to Living on a Prayer. I can't physically, my vocal folds won't go there where Michael goes. But Siobhán's pretty amazing. So I recommend putting her on the spot because she's never got the Steel Panther experience. And if you haven't got the experience like Siobhán, I want 2020, when this is all done, when COVID is over and people can go out of their houses and we can rock the fuck out in person again. I want to see the look on Siobhán's face.
I'm totally down to go. I'm so excited. I can't wait for it to happen, honestly.
I hope it happens soon. I do.
Yeah.
We love you, man. Thank you so much.
20202020-d.com. Thank you guys. Thank you, Satchel.
Downtown.
Thank you to
Media.
Satchel for being
Satchel.
with us tonight. Yes.
Steel Panther!
We'll see you
Steel
next
Panther
time.
Satchel. Awesome. Thank you.